Welcome to the broadcast, ladies and gentlemen, on Ask Desert Owl. And I am your host, Desert Owl. And we're coming back with the series. We want to share with you what most people have never read before. That means most of the people on the planet. And the book is not available. Well, it is available, actually. We're going to tell you how you can get it. But what my point was, it's not available anywhere else simply because of the situations that have occurred in our world, and so I realized it was important to reproduce this work and then to make it available for everybody out there. Hope you're all doing well. Hey, Lynn, good to have you back, and thank you, Ninja, for producing the broadcast here, and Ninja Cat, and it's an interesting world we have, and we're trying to get through some really tough times right now. And I know that where a lot of people are talking about all the doom and the gloom. The good news is that this is not our world, and that we need to enhance our spiritual knowledge, and we need to hear some things we've not heard before, especially when you consider that the traditions that we have been handed from day one have been manipulated, because as it says in our scriptures in Revelations, that the beast system has taken over and deceived the entire world. Deceived the entire world. Well, that's quite a deception, ladies and gentlemen. Some people, with dealing with the King James and all the modern translations that we see, actually think, um, that they're divinely inspired and came right from the, you know, from pure hands and pure hearts, and they don't get that the beast is the system that gave them their translation. It's a corrupted, bastardized, manipulated, altered, destroyed remnant of something that was profound. It was profound, and so we want to. We got an audio problem. Is there an audio problem going on? Audio problem? They can't. Okay, can you hear me? I'm going to ask them. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Lynn, you got an audio check? Come through there. Testing 1 2 3. Okay, okay. Her internet is no good. So that's let me just tell her. Okay, so we'll keep going. We're recording, and sorry for the glitch. Okay, but so bottom line is that all of our translations have been manipulated, ladies and gentlemen. All they used to burn people at the stake for having any scripture or for quoting scripture. They were not allowed to do that. But once, thanks to the works of John Wycliffe and Martin Luther and William Tyndale and Erasmus and others, then it was no longer possible. It was no longer possible to keep the genie in the bottle. And so, since they could not prevent people from having the scriptures, they did the next best thing, and that was to control the words and to control the translations. And that's why when you look at um, the Geneva Bible or the King James or the Tyndale, because Tyndale and Wycliffe, Wycliffe came from the corrupt Latin, and that was 1382. That was the first English translation of our scriptures done by hand, and the Lollards were the ones taking it out to the world. Then Tyndale was taking it from the work of Erasmus, who had the parallel columns of the Greek and the Hebrew. But what we have to recognize is that all of the Hebrew, or excuse me, the Greek and the Latin, they were all already altered on the sacred altar of deception. Not that the scriptures don't convey a significant message. They convey us, the important message that we all want to receive, but there's been so much filtered. That's the right word, filtered out of it, that we do not know unless did the research, became scholars, and bought thousands of books to compare, and translations, other translations to compare the works, the commentaries, all these things. Then one would, it's natural to realize that somebody would assume, hey, here's my Bible. Oh, this is the Word of God. See all these terms. Bible is a code word. God is a code word. God is the Pope. Backwards is dog. Dogs are the priesthood. And Bible is the bib of the L, meaning the covering. You know what a bib is? Put it on a baby to cover the baby. The bib of the L, the bib of the Illuminati, the bib of the enlightened ones. Bib L, Bible, two bulls. There's another code, two bulls. L bib. This is the ultimate. It's the ultimate code when you know how it works, ladies and gentlemen. And so so you have to hear some things you've not heard before in order to compare, because like this Kayla D that went to England 3 years after Yeshua came back. That was his second coming. Came back, rose from the dead. Then uh, Volé Shafé, the correct name for Joseph. Joseph is Volé Shafé. I can talk in depth about the meaning, the component meaning of these Ashavors. There's the original for word, Asha, royal eye. Okay, the royal eye, that's what it is. We're looking at the royal eye. Asha Vortex, Ninja's using the Asha Vortex channel, and that means at the center of the royal eye. Okay, and that, where was I going with this? This translation in particular was not filtered through the Vatican. It was in the hands of other people in England, and I smell a rat when I look at a couple areas in here. It seems to me that some texts are missing. Were the terminology that we got through the filtered Vatican versions slipped in here a little bit. But when you read the essence of these stories that are in here, you can see that, wow, this is compared with such and such a verse, but look at what it's saying here, And so that's the thing that's so beautiful about the Kayla D. It's unfiltered by the Vatican, even though a Jesuit or a priest may have got his hands on it before it was allowed to come out of the box, And so all those things have to be taken into consideration. We've been lied to about everything, right? Medicine, allopathic medicine kills you. We've been lied about politics. Well, the Federal Reserve Bank took over, the Khazarian Jew, JEWs, you know what I mean? And they took over everything. But yet, they left. Oh, the Masorites, right? The Masorites, who are the Jewish banking, they gave us the Old Covenant translation. And they wouldn't lie to us, right? They're following the Babylonian Talmud, hate our guts, want to burn us at the stake, and they're just a good old boy club, good old boys. They just love us to death, don't they? So it's really insane, ladies and gentlemen, when we realize what's going on and how we have to really hear the things I've been trying to share with people for years, and some do get it, some don't. They're listening, and so we're back trying to fill in the gaps for people, because it is Jackie, good to have you. Long time no talk. We're back on a new series with the Gospel of the Kayla D. That's the Gospel of the Wise Strangers. And tonight we're just doing the intro and chapter 1. We'll do a chapter each night as best we can. And there's 25 chapters, so about a month's worth of reading. And this way people can listen to at their convenience. Okay. And so I'm going to start through on page 5 is officially the title page on here, and so I'm going to just go through it. I may do a little bit of comment on certain words. I may do a couple words illustration in the chat, okay? And but at the end, if you have a comment or a question on this in particular or anything else, in other words, at the end, this program is called Ask Desert Owl. So we can talk about the political science, we can talk about forbidden history, or the Eshavors, the words and the translations as well. Anything, that's important to you is worth addressing. Or if you have a problem, need prayer, creation of light, we can take your call. Okay, so Ninja Cat's. All one word, Ninja Cat is her Skype. Okay, you can get added to her Skype account, or you can call in on the phone if you don't have Skype, 608-566-7295 right here in the U.S. 608-566-7295, and Ninja or Lynn will probably type that in there in a bit. So if you missed that, or it's down below, I think it's also on our description down below. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is there. Okay, so you got it right there in front of you, and our books on Amazon, you can go check them out. We got 27 books up there. Not one book sold last month, and it's because the economy is so bad. And just like YouTube, destroys our algorithm, I'm certain that it's happening on Amazon as well, because of the content. We're breaking the code, and what they worked hundreds and thousands of years to control us by, and the Heavenly Father let His light shine, and so we break the code right here. So let's roll, shall we? Okay, and so the Gospel of the Wise Strangers, or the Kaledi, the story of Yeshua the Moeshiyanke, commonly known as Jesus the Messiah, by his great uncle Joseph of Arimathea, which is a corruption. It's really, in the Aramaic we see it's Ramtha, but that's also a corruption. It's closer, and it is the Avram. Actually, the Zavram, and it's goes right into the name of Abraham as well. It's Abraham is Zavram Haim. Abram is correctly Zavram, and so they really have the same last name. It means the sovereign, because they are one with the sovereign. Okay, they are one with the sovereign, and you might want to just type call-in number under that, Lynn, just so they get that is the call-in number. Okay, well, it's okay. And I got to stop looking at the chat. All right, here we go. So Joseph the Sovereign, who brought it with him to Britannia, circa 37 in the Christian era. Common English version. Okay, so this is this version in particular. I didn't want to go too deep into the Indo-Germanic, and my style is that I do a modern term, like if it's the word, let's say king, I then put king, and then I put / and then Malak or Malakeh. Malakeh is the original for what we think of when we say king, but it's also the same word for angel. It's again Malakeh, and there's a lot there, so these are the things, I've talked about on past broadcasts without giving too much analysis here, because I just want to do a read. But I'm just trying to show you that that I put the two or even then the literary sense of a particular word, like Malak. I might give the the literary sense of what that means, on not on that word in there, but on the others. This way, you're realizing that, hey, wait a minute, something's up here. What's going on? Now I'm looking at these Eshavors by desert, and all of a sudden there's all of these deeper meanings, like the word Arimathea is nothing other than a code. It's a fraud. His title was not Arimathea. It was Zavram, Voleshefe the Zavram, Voleshefe the Zavram. But you can hear Ramtha in the Aramaic in there, and then Arimathea. You can still hear the element of that, but it's not those words. It is Joseph of Arimathea, or Ramtha is Voleshefe the Zavram. There it is, the Zavram, and that's what Abram. That's the original word for Abram as well in the singular, because Zavram became, when he went from Abram to Abraham, it became Zavram Haim, meaning the plural, the sovereign of many. But the JEWs want you to think he was a ham. Isn't that a joke, right? Just like we've defined the word Jesus here as well. I'm not going to get into that right now, but in the Indo-Germanic. So they wanted us stuck in the Hebrew and the Greek. But where I go is before that, which is what is first, that which is first is superior, that which is first is original, and that which is first is what was breathed into Adam. It is that's where the term Nazare comes from. What was breathed into the nostril, not through the mouth, because Yahweh didn't want to take credit for what would come through our mouth. So he breathed in the great mystery through Yeshua, the Gabriel, uh, the gnosis, the consciousness of life, and he was made into a living being through the breath, through the spirit. Okay, so all based on the Indo-Germanic Aramaic mother tongue. Paramount, copyright A. Micah Hill, Desert Owl, 2001. If we cannot define words, then we cannot define anything. Okay. Now I have heard it declared. This is by a letter of Ignatius to the Philadelphians in circa 90 CE. He was a friend of Yalgunun, John the Evangelist. Now I have heard it declared by some who say that unless I can find it written within the original scriptures, I will not recognize it to be written within my own scriptures. But then, once it has been plainly revealed for them that this is the way that it has been written, then they reply back to me with what is laying there before them within their own corrupted scripture texts. That's letter of Ignatius to the Philadelphians. You see, so it's nothing new under the sun. The secret societies and the government were changed, and especially the Judeans. You know, they were getting the scriptures and changing them right out the gate 2,000 years ago. You know, the Masons even did that with the book that was published by Captain Morgan. You know, who they killed. They went back and republished his book, took out the important stuff, and then people think that the book is still a legitimate copy of the story of that was written by Captain Morgan, who they drowned in the Great Lakes, and kidnapped and drowned. So this is a strategy that's been going on about altering documents. Like they probably did that with the protocols of the Elders of Zion. They have versions that are out there that are not, as in depth as the original copy. This is a classic of the way they do things, since they control all publishing. Just like the Jews put themselves in all of the scriptures, they put themselves in all literature, going back thousands of years when the word didn't exist until 1775, and that's when they entered the letter J into our alphabet, coincidentally, and then we got words like justice and jury with J's, right? De jure, all with J's. And see, they've been manipulating, changing, altering, and we never can figure out the game because it's their game, the one they played on us. But you do get it here, ladies and gentlemen. You get a little bit of how that code can be broken, and you can be set free from them. These Shavors, these words will speak for themselves. That's my entire introduction to the works that I've been doing. The I think I was commenting and I got sidetracked when we had a problem, but I just wanted to mention, with the 27 books, I think I was about to say, with the 27 books we got on Amazon, yeah, we didn't get one sale last month, and so Ninja's down there with no food. Just know that when you purchase a book, okay, Ninja gets a percentage of the work. The book of the Kayla D I'm reading tonight is on lulu.com. So if you want to get the entire text, okay, it's still in production. In other words, we published the text even though I haven't finished the cleanup. It's an ongoing project, and you can be a part of the project, and you can read it with us on the program. Okay, you can have a copy, and you go to lulu.com and you search for the Gospel of the Wise Strangers, or the Kailedi, Kailedy. Okay, and so we certainly want to help Ninja out. She's Australia is in the worst fix of them all, for all of us, probably between them and England, but it seems like Australia really is getting it with the lockdown and with the jab and all that. So consider, when you get the book, you're helping yourself and you're helping Ninja and also the ministry here at the same time, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and thank you for that consideration. So these words speak for themselves. That's my entire introduction. Okay, I don't go into big commentaries or introductions, because I put footnotes in the side margins, and I either someone is a deep study, a deep thinker, and they'll get it. Okay, but you got to plow the field a little bit. You got to work through it, and then come on, bring on the questions, because I like to do oral explanations. It's a lot easier to do that. And I have too many translations I'm working on. I'm coming up next. I've got a really powerful one on the story of Mary going to the tomb, what happened on that day, and how she was the non-Mary. See, they wanted us to think Mary of Magdala was the first one that saw Yeshua, and they switched that out, and we're going to prove it now, okay? Because it was Mary the mother. You make sense that the mother, he would appear to his mother first, and we actually have a part of that in the back of the Kayla Day as well. So we're working towards that. And then I have another small book we're going to do on what happened with Pilate after the resurrection, a whole nother story that will blow your mind. That's coming up after this particular read that we're doing here. Okay, so at that point we'll be ready. So continuing here, so these Eshavors, these words will speak for themselves. For a time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, or what would be the original meanings of the Eshavors, the words. Introduction. This is a reproduction of one of several versions of which have existed in similar forms from before World War II. They were first found in handwritten form and then put into typewritten form as well. In the 1800s, they were doing it by hand, and then once the typewriter came out in the early 20th century, it started being typed up. Okay, so forward. The Gospel of the Wise Strangers, or the Kayla D, is about the life and teachings of the Messiah. The Gospel of the Wise Strangers, or the Kayla D, previously called the Book of the Illuminators, or probably the Book of Illumination, having the authority of the Nazarene, or Nazarenes. There was no Nazareth. That's a cover on the meaning of Nazarene. They wanted to divert our attention to the powerful meaning of the word Nazarene that I talk about. Okay, and so this being the second volume of the Kolbrin, the word Kayla originated with the early Christians who came to Britain in 37 CE, led by Joseph of Arimathea, and means wise strangers, or the wise strangers. All of the desirable things attainable by man, that's Eshan, the assurance of his own immortality with a clear insight into that true purpose behind his own creation, with the true key knowledge of his only road back on towards that fulfillment of his destiny, is of the greatest import. 2,000 years ago, carefully etched onto hundreds of bronze sheets, is found the most important collection of books next to the Bible itself. And yet it is the Bible of the very important Eshan, the most important man who buried the anointed Yeshua himself. The late and the great merchant of tin from up on Britain's shores, Yeshua's great uncle, being of the family line of King David, Joseph, the sovereign. 3 years after the miraculous return of Yeshua from the grave, the royal family of Tavat David was banished from Jerusalem by the Sanhedrin, who almost took their lives, but miraculously they escaped and resettled in Britannia, in the area now known as Glastonbury, along with Joseph, that's Voleshafe, and Mary, Metzarem, and Voleshafe being her uncle. There were about a dozen others who also fled with them. They were actually put in a boat without oars or sails by the Sanhedrin, hoping that they would die out there on the open water, which didn't happen, of course. And they fled along with them to Glastonbury, and is also known as the first Christian settlement founded outside of Utah. The most significant book that is found in the entire Kolbrin collection is one called the Book of Wisdom. It was written by, and we have that also at on Amazon and Lulu. Okay, so the Book of Wisdom is there. Just you've got the link on the description. The Book of Wisdom, it was written with a special purpose in mind because Britannia was also a foreign land. It was necessary to reassure the king, Arviragus, as well as the common people, that all of them had come in peace, not with any intent of intruding within their own affairs, nor were they going to attempt to try and change any of their own customs, other than to introduce the greater light. And this is how the Book of Wisdom came to be, as it well describes the true character of this new people, while it then became a common letter to give reassurance to the people of that land, while at the same time it became the edification for all of the Christian community as a whole. As well as on this island were people called the Druids, and these were the direct descendants of the lost 10 tribes of Israel, who escaped from the Assyrian captivity in the east. They were also waiting in anticipation for the coming of the Messiah, or the Christ, the Anointed One, and readily accepted this new faith. And that's an introduction by myself. And now we have the dedication. This work is dedicated to the forerunners and heralds of the great age of the golden light, which is the promise lying just over the horizon for all future generations. And so the golden age of golden light, or the golden age of light, is what has been removed from our purview, ladies and gentlemen, just like so many other meanings, deep meanings of the words. They have been cleverly removed from our scriptures by the Vatican and the Vatican agents. And so through a long process of study, and the anointing of truth, the Heavenly Father has allowed me to stumble on them, or through other more older writings, a lot of them out of the 1800s, or just because of the word etymology, because once Yeshua caused me to become adept in the Indo-Germanic, then these words also started opening up and were easily recognized. Because what they did is they abbreviated our words, ladies and gentlemen. They abbreviated them, and they literally did it outside the Vatican at a place called the College of Abbreviators. Go figure, run by the Jewish Jesuit Curii. Okay, they put the cure in your eye so you could not see the original thought, and this is what we're trying to convey here. Okay, so this is a historical work we're doing. This presentation, because nobody is into the Indo-Germanic. They got stuck in the Hebrew and Greek, and that's where they wanted you, because that's the merry-go-round of deception. And and how come they don't ever mention Aramaic? Because it was an Aramaic culture, and it was all in Aramaic, which is synonymous with the terminology of Indo-Germanic. Hebrew became exclusive to the priesthood and the wealthy. Okay, exclusive to the priesthood and the wealthy. The common people spoke Aramaic. They changed the word into Syriac, which is a Greek word. And so whenever you read the word Syriac, realize that they changed it from Aramaic because they don't want you thinking Aramaic / Indo-Germanic mother tongue, okay, which was breathed into Adam. Okay, continuing here on this dedication. It is intended to be accepted as a vehicle for conveying original spiritual knowledge, and is to be assessed by the overriding precepts it is intended to convey. It is dedicated to those stalwart souls who still honor the precepts, ethics, and traditional values which have been a guiding light down through the civilizing, I don't know if they're civilizing, centuries. It is dedicated also to the precept of true love and the promotion of family ethics, to the effect that all families become more enduring. And forgive me for that, because I forgot I was reading about the Book of Wisdom in that sense there. So certainly it is civilizing. Yeah, I thought I was still talking about the Vatican there. Excuse me. Okay, and it is dedicated also to the precepts of true love and the promotion of family ethics, to the effect that all families become more enduring. The Book of Wisdom is the greatest book of wisdom ever, ladies and gentlemen. You just have to read it. The portents of this book are copied from a copy of an original held by a closer arcane order. The very words that are etched onto the sarcophagus of Joseph the Sovereign in Glastonbury, England, below reads, "To the Britons I came, after I buried the anointed Malishianke, the Messiah. I have documented, I taught, that is, I planted seeds, and I have entered my rest." Joseph of Arimathea, Volatia Fay, the Sovereign, circa 36 CE. Well, if it was on his tomb, I don't know. We don't know when he passed away, so that's actually when he got there, and so we don't know how long how old he was, nor how long he lived. But he was up there, probably around 70, I would imagine, when he went to England. Okay, so Britannia, excuse me. Preamble. This is let me just take a sip of my drink here. I gotta pace myself with don't ever get any phone calls, and don't talk to anyone. So I actually find out when I try to do a broadcast. I gotta work my voice up to it. So it'll take a few days, but we got about 25 days, 25 chapters. We're gonna do a chapter every day, and then people can come back and listen to the series whenever they learn about it for the first time. They can go right to the first draft, which is tonight, and just go one by one, and listen to the text of the Kayla Day, and also hear the commentary as well. Okay, so preamble. This is a reliable record of the seed planting, that's teaching, that was given when the mother light of the harvest, Yeshua, plowed and planted seed, that is, he taught, on the Aish Shalom, Royal Star Rest, and the Enlightenment, addressing everyone who had sought to follow after the way. They were known as the people of the way. They weren't called Christians back then. They were the people of the way, and that comes from the word Levi. Levi is leve, and leve means the way. And so the Levitical priesthood was a forerunner and a symbol, an image of the people of the way, because they owned no property. They had everything given to them by the rest of the people. You see, so this is what we never hear talked about, and but this is the way it is, So check that out, read those stories, and realize what it represents: the people of the way, leve. Okay, and to walk on the true path, the origin of the serpent's breath, on the true path. Everything is serpent. We talk about the serpent on here as well, and here's the continuing on the preamble here. The sun and the many stars beyond our sun, Earth, and the many planets beyond the Earth are all held together by the thoughts of the great power of the Yahweh, which was corrupted into Yahweh, and also God. These are all of the greatest monuments that are all ever presenting his never-ending, radiant, and glowing great light that moves throughout all time. All things that are living, that move, breathe, and vibrate, all have their place and their purpose, all within the one domain of the one creation of life. That's Avita. Avita is life. In the light of creation, man, that's Eshan, can find the greatest joy within the eternal halls of this great house. Yet never attach your heart onto any of the earthly possessions. Here, a man, Eshan, man means criminal and sinner in Old English. That's why you don't want to be a man. You want to be an Eshan, meaning having the royal eyes that came down. The power, where was I here? Okay, here, and Eshan may desire to live for 100 years, and he may attain this, but to what benefit are these extended years for him if they do not rise up the soul into a greater height? Here is where there will always remain a horror, vanquished region within the outer darkness of a perpetual night, here within the shadow of the death, so that anyone who turns away from the life of the great sunrise and is found shining down upon this earth will most certainly walk blindly within it. Here is where they will remain down upon this lower plane, participating within the dark natures of a demagogue, the blind leading the blind down into that darkness of a grand deception and destruction. The soul, meaning the center of knowledge, without even moving, flies itself up with the wings of the wind, being faster than the act of thought in itself. It stands behind and way beyond the mere natural senses. It is of that which knows, working within all of the things that are already known. As the etheric spirit breath of a Shan is then carried down into the live stream of action, into that greater cosmic ocean of life. The etheric spirit, the a spirit breath of the one is everlasting, all within a day without end. The one is near and the one is far beyond these cosmic spaces. The one is within everything, while the one holds on and contains everything, all within his servant hand. There should be no D on hand because D is death and D is darkness, D is destruction. And that's how they, not only did they abbreviate words, but they added to them. And this is part of the great deception. So periodically I'm going to show you it's Han, Hann, and An means harvest. So literally Han without the D means the breath of continuance. And of course, that's what we do with our hands, right? We create and we continue the creation with our hands. So that's why it's beautiful to be able to explain these original forms, these Eshavors, because they have definite meaning. They reveal themselves when you know the code. And that's what I've been doing all my life and waiting till this time to do these important transliterations for you, ladies and gentlemen. So I hope you're enjoying it. Okay. The I who sees his own self as connected with all things and all things as connected with his own self, is then conscious of being conscious and awakened from the death of this illusion. He is beyond any delusions about this reality and is outside of the reach of all worthless sorrows. From the Book of Fragments. The superficiality or the illusions of this world could cause someone to believe something that is inherently false, even if merely to trick the mind into thinking that there actually is another reality other than the one that truly is. And that's a quote of mine. And Ashan asked Yeshua, and what about wisdom? Has it not been abundant in the world since the days of the greatest sages, of whom Solomon was regarded as the greatest of them all? Yet even before him there was a very profound wisdom, but has the earth at all become a better place for all of this? What has it contributed to the development of mankind? Ashankind. Yeshua, it is a truth throughout all time that there has never been a shortage of wisdom in the world, but there has always been too little in the heart of Ashan. Wisdom in Ashan is not something seen as written in books. Rather, it is that which is conveyed only from the book of the heart that counts. It is a way of habita, life, and of the living ones. All the wisdom of the past, held in very great reverence by some, was easier to write than to live by. Following it remains the only true wisdom. Wisdom, however, is more than the deep thoughts of the wise, as it is the accumulated philosophical key knowledge of Ashan kind, winnowed by the winds of pure application. Nobility is an attribute of the soul. Original word, shul. That's Yashulnva. That's the original word for Yeshua. Shul, the soul, place of knowledge. And no Ashan automatically has this by any right of birth. Nobility demonstrates an ability to live and act according to the highest of principles. It is expressed in positive action, a positive outlook, and an overall good character. By a style of life, avita, in perfect relationship with others. That which ennobles an Ashan comes by his recognition of some thing to love and to strive for outside of himself. Nobility is the subordination of self for the highest of principles. The principle, Yeshua, is one in whom all of the virtues came to fruition. His meekness and gentleness drew to him all of his neighbors. In his presence, even his enemies could become reconciled, as his presence only brought tranquility to the restless and downcast hearts. In the streets, even the little ones and the youth followed behind him to see if they could only touch him on the hand. His reactions to injustice, or which would be correctly the lack of flowing light, accusation and insult, was a meek demeanor filled with compassion. I'll read that again since I interjected. His reactions to injustice, accusation, and insult was a meek demeanor filled with compassion. He never looked to obtain or acquire anything beyond his own immediate need, nor did he place any value or treasure those things that he had. Underneath his gentle and warm exterior was a rock-hard fortress, immovable and in determination, while autoimmune to both suffering and any oppression that ever came to him. Despite his own gentle nature, he could act decisively and quickly. And when he had any cause to lash out in the name of true focusing light, true justice, and right, he never avoided an issue. From the Book of Britannia. The eye that walks with the wise blood of the earth, Ashan, will become wise, but a companion of the fool will only be destroyed. Proverbs 13:20. Original Thought Transliteration Project. The Yahweh breathed onto Joseph of Arimathea, Volesha the Sovereign. And by the way, Ninja, we're going to a break right in a minute here. Go reach out to the creation, to all of those who live beyond, at the very edge of the earth. From the Bronze Book of Britannia. And those are the words of Joseph of Ramtha. Go reach out to the creation, to all of those who live beyond, at the very edge of the earth, their earth for their time, the edge of the earth. Britannia. And there we have our preamble and introduction, ladies and gentlemen, to one of the most profound gospels ever written, and by the very uncle of Yeshua himself, the great uncle who built a tomb for him, was just Mr. Good to Go, right there, right next to the crucifixion. Had a little garden with a built in the face of the same rock wall where Yeshua was crucified in front of, at the base of the skull, the tomb in the garden. And so this was a really profound family, and so much of the legacy has been stolen from us, and we're attempting to bring it back. And so you're about to hear God, really, literally, the gospel by Joseph of Arimathea, or Joseph the Sovereign, Volashafe the Sovereign. And that's, so we're going to go to a break, and when we come back, we'll do chapter 1. I think I'm up to it. I'm a little challenged right now for not. This is more talking than I've done in weeks right now, out loud. And so, okay, so I'm glad you tuned in. We know that most of the people are going to come by later on and be listening in, and so we're just going to produce a series one chapter at a time, and it'll all be right here on Ask Desert Owl. Don't forget, when we get done, if you have a question, you can type it into the chat, and Ninja will let me know that it's there prior to the end of the broadcast, or you can call in on Skype, or you can call in by phone. But wait till we get to the end of the read, if you don't mind, unless you want to post it in the chat, that's okay. But otherwise, hold back on calling until we invite you to come on, okay? Because I want to, talk about the Indo-Germanic. I want to be able to explain what this word or that word means if you're trying to figure it out, or maybe you see something, whatever, and we're happy to have you come by, and just, even if you just want to say hi, that's okay too. We're here just user friendly, and we're attempting to share what's important to all of us right here, and I hope it's important to you. So glad you tuned in. Time to call your friends. If they want to start out with chapter 1 with us, give them a call right now. We'll be back in about 5 minutes, right here on Ask Desert Owl with Ninja Cat. So don't go away. Glad you tuned in. Okay, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I've got to turn off the air. I turned it on before the break, and now you can't do it. Hang on a minute. All right, sorry about that. It's bad for radio, but we are the Real Public Radio. And we do get it done on a song, a wing, and a prayer. And you are our prayer, ladies and gentlemen. And certainly Ninja down in Australia needs your prayers. And if you want to send her an outright donation, because I can't begin to express what's going on. She's eating wild vegetation, so she's really being creative to survive. But if you want to help her out outright, then and for all her work she does producing, then Ninja, I assume your email is on the right hand side. They can make a donation, correct, for you if they want this ministry as well. But I'm just trying to direct attention on Ninja's situation because they can't go to the store. They can only go out. But she doesn't have any revenue coming in, just enough to pay the rent and have a little bit of food, but nothing, to get the extra things, that she needs. So just consider helping out a friend. All right, she's been supporting this ministry for a couple of years now, and so I'm very grateful for loves the Father and is doing great work. Okay, so now we got buffering going on. Are we still good? See some buffering. What's up? Are you there? Ninja? Come in, Ninja. We're having a little buffering going on, right? Okay. It's good now. Okay. Otherwise, we could, if we need to break, this isn't good. I hear you. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. This is our break. Going to be our break-off point. Let's close. You can hear me? You hear me? Testing? Okay. All right. You're hearing me now? Okay. Oh, okay. Well, we may break with the song. If we're gonna have a problem, I'd rather break with the song than we could do chapter 1 tomorrow. So am I coming through okay? Am I coming through? Go to a song. Close out. Okay, so we're back at it. We're good. Okay, close out with the song. What? We're good. We're good with the song. Okay, no, we're not. We're not good. We're not going to do this. Close out with the song. Okay. Okay, we'll do chapter 1 tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Chapter 1 tomorrow.
Starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray. Look out on a summer's day with eyes that know the darkness in my soul. Shadows on the hills, sketch the trees and the daffodils, catch the breeze and the winter chills in colors on the snowy linen land. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now. Starry, starry night, flaming flowers that brightly blaze, swirling clouds in violet haze, reflect in Vincent's eyes of china blue, colors changing hue. Morning fields of amber grain, weathered faces lined in pain, are soothed beneath the artist's loving hand. Now I understand what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they did not know how. Perhaps they'll listen now, for they could not love you, but still your love was true. And when no hope was left inside on that starry, starry night, you took your life as lovers often do. But I could have told you, Vincent, this world was never meant for one as beautiful as you. Starry, starry night, portraits hung in empty halls, frameless heads on nameless walls, with eyes that watch the world and can't forget, like the strangers that you've met, the ragged men in ragged clothes, a silver thorn, a bloody rose, lie crushed and broken on the virgin snow. Now I think I know what you tried to say to me, and how you suffered for your sanity, and how you tried to set them free. They would not listen, they're not listening still. Perhaps they never